Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode of Soul Seeds, where Mindy is my guest expert for today, and Mindy is a healer and one of my favorite quotes, the magic finder. Still love it. And the topic we are going to discuss today is moving with breath. So I would love to know, how important is breath work for basically your overall well-being?
Um, uh, Honestly, it's probably one of the most important pieces to that puzzle.
Mm.
Being a mover myself, I started dancing at 5 years old.
Mhm.
I have my bachelor's degree in dance and have progressed through. I'm a black belt martial artist, but it's funny, through all that, I never truly connected my breath to what I was doing
Mm.
until I discovered Tai Chi
Mm.
and
Right.
started exploring breath work a little more deeply.
Mhm.
As a yoga instructor, I also connect my breath, but I never truly dove into what that meant. And it's so much more than pause on an inhale, move on an
Mm.
exhale.
Right.
It's so much more can go so much deeper for anybody.
Mm. Yeah.
For me, moving with the breath allows me to find energy.
Mhm.
It allows me to connect that mind, body, soul connection as I'm moving. And being able to breathe while you flow or move will help you extend the length of what you're capable of doing.
Mm.
And once you learn to connect to the breath, then all of a sudden, now I'm connecting the breath when I'm doing the dishes.
Mm.
Now I'm connecting the breath and understanding what that feels like when I'm vacuuming or taking the dog for a walk or doing other things in my life that
Mhm.
aren't straight movement.
Mm.
'Cause
Yeah,
two
because
things
I think we're so focused on our minds, and when we are busy, like you said, we're doing vacuuming or we're doing, I don't know, grocery shopping, you usually tend to not be in the moment, but thinking about like what's next on our to-do list. But I think like when you incorporate your breath, it's almost like this portal from your mind to your heart and your body to connect the two again.
two things our bodies are always doing, whether we realize it or not. We're breathing and we're moving.
Right.
I mean, it's subconscious. I mean, it can be conscious when we're doing big, large, active movements, but
Mm-hmm.
even just sitting in a still moment, there are actions and movements and things going on in our body.
Mm-hmm.
And as we connect into breath, we can scan our body in different ways and feel what we're feeling. It kind of gives me a way of feeling my feels
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, because you mentioned,
acknowledging.
yeah, it's a bit like, of course, yeah, you connected with movements like, of course, yeah, you do karate, but also with Tai Chi or Qi Kong and yoga, of course, and those are. It also has to do with, I think, with just being mindful and present with not just your mind, but with your body and with what your body is trying to tell you, because our body is constantly sending us messages, right?
Absolutely, and it's a matter of listening to that. Why
Mm-hmm.
is my breath hitching when I do this certain thing? Why can
Right.
I not get a full inhale? Why am I breathing so shallowly? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
what's stressing me? What's causing me a little extra anxiety? Is my heart rate coming down
Mm.
appropriately? Am I finding calm? All those different things can be connected. And with me personally, with being a mover, that's how I release a lot of that tension and that stress and that anxiety. And
Mm-hmm.
finding the breath connection kind of makes that move a little quicker.
Mm-hmm. And what would you advise someone who is like struggling to connect with their breath? Because I know when I dealt with my anxiety and my phobia, when I would focus on my breath, because I would constantly have panic attacks, when I would focus on that breath, it would trigger my anxiety. Is there a way to deal with that and focus on your breath in a constructive way?
I am so glad you brought that up. And that's one of the reasons why I feel the movement
Mm-hmm.
becomes key there.
Right.
Um, find a movement, find something that works for you.
Mm-hmm.
Stillness does not work for all people.
Mm-hmm.
Focusing in on that one thing, like you said, can amplify the anxieties.
Right. Yeah.
But finding an activity, finding a movement, And I mean, that can be writing, that could be a simple, gentle yoga flow, that can be walking,
Hmm.
that can be, I mean, there's the list for that is endless, but you have to find what is the key for you and
Hmm.
how that works with your body.
Yeah, I think that's essential because all our anxiety, well, I mean, most of us, I think, struggle with some kind of anxiety, especially in these
Mhm.
overwhelming times that we're in. But it's important to find what feels good for you and not force anything. I think force is like that's what triggers anxiety even more. And that's when you don't feel safe enough to breathe comfortably and to connect with yourself. Because like that deep connection with that breath and with your heart space comes, I think, from a place of safety, right?
Absolutely. And a lot of the time, it's not just forcing it, it's kind of doing what you think or you're
Hmm.
being told to do. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
not taking a class until
Hmm.
you know this is what's right for your body. I have so many people, I'll see them sign up for all these different classes and stuff, and they're like, that wasn't for me. But
Hmm.
sometimes it's exploring what is for you in a safe way until you're ready to explore it in another way.
Hmm. And I think also be gentle and compassionate with yourself in that search what actually feels good to you, right?
Yes, absolutely. Give yourself grace.
Hmm. Yeah, because I think that I think I speak from experience because I've had that phobia and I've had that anxiety, and especially in those times, you can be quite hard on yourself because you're like, okay, why haven't I figured this out yet? Why am I
Yeah.
constantly in a panic, and why is my body constantly so tense? And you don't give yourself that time and that self-love, that appreciation to actually calm down, because that is usually only what it takes, right? To only just allow yourself that minute even to just
Yeah.
decompress.
And it's one of those things with practice, it gets
Hmm.
easier. With
Right,
practice, you figure out what really truly works for you quickly,
right.
and then it just gets easier. So don't give up on something because it's
Hmm.
giving you a little bit of a struggle. That's just persevere and push through,
Hmm.
and you'll overcome it and it will get easier.
Mm. And like you said, find what feels good, and treat yourself with compassion when something doesn't work. I mean, it can be, maybe Tai Chi isn't for you, but maybe, I don't know, yoga or belly dancing or something, any kind of movement that you feel good with is for you, because we're all different. So,
And
yeah.
there's so many different styles of movement that you can experiment with and play with. And it comes down to that. Give yourself some time to play with it. Think
Mm,
about what you enjoyed when you were younger. Or you might be aging and running might not feel as good, but find something that kind of brings that back up for you, can even
mhm.
help.
And what would you say to someone that has a mindset of like, "Ah, I don't have time for that. I have kids, I have a job, I have, all these chores to do, I have to cook and everything. How do I find the time for that?"
You have to make it. You have to give yourself the compassion, like you were saying, and the opportunity to explore this. Because
Hmm.
as you make the time, it will find the time
Hmm.
and it will happen. And now, while you're doing all those other things, it will start happening easier.
Mm. Yeah, because I think also when you create that time, and it doesn't have to be much, right? It can just be, I don't know, give yourself 15 minutes. Get up earlier for 15 minutes and do some yoga or meditation, breathwork sessions, and that you feel comfortable with. But like you said, when you find the time also you attract more time because it comes easier for you. And you, even when you, I don't know, waiting for a bus, and
Yep,
the bus is in 5 minutes, you can just do just a night breathwork session in those 5 minutes, right? It doesn't have to be a lot
absolutely.
of time or a lot of hassle to create that time for yourself.
Sitting in the car pickup line waiting for your children,
Hmm.
waiting for the microwave to count down as it's warming up your lunch, standing
Right.
in line at the grocery store. Not the most relaxing of places to
Hmm.
try these things, but sometimes that's where you steal a little bit of time
Hmm.
and it
Yeah.
gets easier and easier.
Yeah, it's like a muscle that you train, I think, right? Because, when you go to the gym and you train a muscle and you lift like, I don't know, 5 kilograms, and you're like, oh, and then the next time you lift 7, and you're like, okay, getting better and better. And the same is with,
Absolutely.
of course, moving with your breath. When it's, I think, all about that awareness. Once that awareness is there, you create space for that awareness to grow, and it will come to you, I think.
And as you're doing it and your body is realizing how amazing it is and what it is
Right.
doing for you, you're going to crave it more and you're going to
Yeah.
make it happen more. And it's
Yeah.
going to just be.
Yeah, exactly. It becomes a way of being instead of something that is on your to-do list, right?
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for today, Mindy. It was a joy to talk to you as always.
Thank you so much.